Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Berke. Buyuktanja. Berke.
You're going to create muscle memory before we're off the air today. I see what you're doing.
Quickly before I get riled up about something again. This is from Dennis Dodd. Remember when the Big Ten and the SEC were like, hey, I really like this 12-team playoff idea, but let's do more, and we want more auto bids than everybody else. Remember when they said that?
I do remember this, yes.
That has been put on pause, according to Dennis Dodd.
What?
Earlier this year, the Big Ten and the SEC were in the process of what amounted to a hostile takeover of the college football. I mean, yeah. Already succeeded in securing a combined 59% of media rights revenue under the new CFP contract with ESPN. They also socialized the idea of essentially taking over the bracket. The reaction...
Socialized?
That's what Dennis Dodd wrote, yeah.
Stick to sports, Dennis.
The reaction from within the system was far from positive. The attempted coup peaked or hit rock bottom, depending on how you view it. In February, when reports the two super conferences were attempting to grab the top two spots in the playoff for their respective champions beginning in 2026 when the new contract goes into effect. That was in addition to seeking 3 automatic qualifiers each for the two leagues. The final tally is that the SEC and the Big Ten wanted 10 combined spots in the larger college football playoff. I didn't agree with it, one administrator in the room at the time told CBS this week. It would potentially delegitimize the playoff to some degree. No league has that. No league gives you a lot of access because you have money.
But what if they did?
Well, that's what the Big Ten and the SEC are trying to argue. So that is currently being put on hold because everybody else said, all right, enough.
That's a bridge too far.
You're going to go ahead, just keep pushing us around, whatever, keep us part of this, but come on, give me a break. And then maybe, Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey looked at each other and they're like, yeah, we're kind of being jerks here. Let's just stop for a while. And that's what's happened here, it seems.
Maybe next contract you can work that in. Not this one, not today.
They you gave them a little window of opportunity and they went for it. That much is for sure. I got this one for you. Okay. Oh, so should I be complaining again, or should I maybe give you something more based in fact? Do you like facts, or do you like when I'm angry? This is a very tricky thing for you, Josh, because I know you really like your integrity, but you also are very clickbait.
Uh-huh. I kind of like it better when you're angry.
All right, here we go.
I'm sorry, audience, if I picked wrong.
I've already seen some, and there's been various rankings of Nebraska's schedule and which game is the most important and blah blah. We're getting into all that stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already seen a couple of those, and I read the comments. Maybe I shouldn't read the comments, Josh.
That sounds like that one's on you.
Maybe I shouldn't read the comments. I could just stay away from this entirely. But I chose not to in this case, and it triggered me.
If there was a good comment in the comments section, they would be on a media outlet of some kind.
Oh, I mean, not everybody with a good take works in the media. There's people with great takes out there.
That's not what I'm saying. If you had enough, if you strung enough good takes together, you would be a part of.
Well, I found a lot of bad ones.
Some way to get your voice out.
And I know people echo this sentiment from time to time. So I've seen the schedule things, and they're like, "Here's the most important game," and all the comments will say, the most important game? The UTEP game. It's the first one. Time for you guys to grow up. Grow up. The UTEP game is not the most important game on Nebraska's schedule. But it's the first game. It's the next game. Just get the first one first. I get it. Nebraska's had a mentally weak program, and they're going to have a mentally weak program until you decide that they don't have a mentally weak program. I thought they made strides in that category last year, but there's no way that you could be that much of a snowflake, that you could be that soft to think if Nebraska doesn't win their first game against UTEP, a team that they're 4-touchdown favorites against, but if they lose that game, everything is going to fall apart. We don't have to treat this program like children anymore. They have an adult head coach. They have an adult head coach, and they're capable of taking care of their business. Nebraska is going to win the game against UTEP. We should not be concerned about this in the least bit. Watch out for UTEP. And remember, if you start 1-0, that's the most important thing because I just think it could build the. It's the same people that thought the Akron game would have somehow made Scott Frost a better coach. Give me a break. Give me a break. We're talking about adults here. They're going to beat UTEP, and not only are they going to beat UTEP, if they don't beat UTEP, then guess what? Not everything has to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
They just lose. Sometimes you lose games. We can treat people like adults out here. And you don't have to win the first game in order to have a successful season. I'm confident that Nebraska will. I'm confident that Nebraska will take care of their business. And I'm not worried about UTEP. I'm glad that Nebraska has a schedule set up where they don't have to play Ohio State in the first game of the year. That is exciting to me. But part of that process is admitting this is a game that Nebraska should beep, boop, boop, just walk right over and win. We have to admit that to ourselves. Nebraska is good enough to do that, and we should hold them to that standard. What if they don't win? What if they don't win? They're going to win.
I would argue fairly succinctly that this is not even in the top 10 most important games of Nebraska's
Thank you,
football
Josh.
season.
This game is stupid.
It is not a conference game. It is not a game against a Power 4 team or a P4 team. I don't know what the verbiage is yet.
In fact, you know what? I would like to minimize the importance of this game as much as I possibly can because you play Colorado the next week, and that is actually an important game.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska needs to beat teams that sort of look like them in the record column. They need to win those games. That's a big game.
Only Northern Iowa is less important than UTEP.
Nice, Josh.
What are we doing here?
But Josh, it's the first game. It's the first game. They have to win the first game. Just win the one right in front of you. Win the at bat. Win the day.
1-0.
You are the fan. You are not the coach.
Yeah.
You are not the coach of the team. You are a fan of the team, and so it's okay for us to have these conversations about writing W's and L's next to the game all season long. It's what we do. It's well within the laws. We do it every single year.
Every year.
We're going to continue to do it. And UTEP should be a win, and Nebraska's going to win the game, and they're going to win the football game. They're going to bring that trophy back to Lincoln, and then they're going to play Colorado the next week. And that will be an important game of which we will have much discussion about from a variety of different angles. But we should have no discussion about this game other than the fact that it is Dylon's first game, and I'm excited to see the young boy play.
That's right.
That's all. It's just the Dylon game.
It's just all right. Football is underway. That's it. That's all it is. That's all it has to be.
Football's here. I'm excited about it.
Uh-huh. Hey, remember the doldrums when we didn't have football?
That was the past. That was the olden times.
Remember when we tried to make a benches clearing brawl between the Cubs and the Brewers and early August seemed meaningful and it actually wasn't? Well, now we can talk about football.
Exactly. Remember when we had to try and force a topic about Caitlin Clark every day? Anyway.
We'll have that later in the show, by the way.
Sal writes in on YouTube, let the anger flow through you.
That's a Star Wars thing, Connor. Let the hate flow through you.
And Star Wars Fiend, coincidentally, comments after that, why do I all of a sudden feel attacked? But this is actually a Connor rant that I can get behind. If you feel attacked, then it's not you probably didn't like that rant.
If you feel attacked right now, if you feel like, no, Connor, you're wrong. Don't complain. Don't get mad on the internet. Sit wherever you have I don't know where people have mirrors anymore, but look in the mirror at yourself. Work on you before you come back at us and say that we're wrong.
Jesse writes in on the text line.
Hi, Jesse.
I am going to take this text literally. All right. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But here's what it says. The Akron game would have changed everything. And if we lose to UTEP, then what the hell are we doing? Nebraska's not going to lose to UTEP. Clearly, it is the most important game. Coach Rule always talks about 1-0. Geez, I think it's sarcastic now that I look back on it. I think it's sarcastic.
Guys.
So I'm going to treat it as a sarcasm text, but I will also give you a real response. Matt Rule is different from you because Matt Rule is the coach of the football team. This is something that I don't think we have a great grasp on sometimes. So I need to spell it out. He is the coach of the football team. So when he says we need to win the day, he literally means they need to win the day and they need to do everything right. You don't have to care about winning the day because all you care about is the 12 football games. That's all that matters. Those are the only tests you get, and those are the only things you're graded on. That's it. That's the sport. So you don't have to care about how they're doing on June 4th. If you don't want to, some people do, but guess what? They ain't keeping score. They're keeping score on August 31st, and that's what you get.
This is a very passionate fan base, and I respect that. I love that about this.
Jesse
state.
confirms it is sarcasm.
Thank you. But I do think we need to dumb it down even further.
Okay.
For a certain segment of the audience.
Keep going.
Listen up. Stop what you're doing. You might need to park the car.
He's standing up. What's going on? Let me get really close.
You are not on the football team. You can do things outside of football. It's important. It's a big chunk of your life. A lot of your happiness is invested in it, and that's okay. But you are not an actual member of the team. You don't have to parrot what the coach says ever. You are an independent person, and I believe in you.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. A little giddy up. Little pat on the back. I'm gonna
tear you down and I'm gonna build you back up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought you were gonna be really mean on that, but it ended up nice.
Mid rant, it felt really mean, and I said, you know what, I gotta build these people back up because they're good people.
I know these people, they're good people. I know these people.
The best people.
I know these people, they're great people. Chris in Montana writes it. Dylan goes 16 for 20 for 240 yards. And Nebraska rushes it 50 times for another 240. Nebraska 37, UTEP 7. No biggie. Thank you.
50 carries?
Nebraska as a team rushes it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Feels high.
They're all over him.
Mm-hmm.
Venmo Chris. Sorry, taking notes. How should that game against UTEP go? Was it beep, boop, boop? Just making sure I got that right.
It's just like a fortune cookie.
Did we say that? Is it just?
You said that. You did the tiptoe.
Beep, boop, boop. That was me walking.
Look at this. That was a segment of Look at This, where Connor is tiptoeing with his fingers while he says beep, boop,
beep, boop, boop. That's how that game should go. Don't worry about it. That's the easy test.
You might even say, forget about it.
Forget about it. Indeed. I would say, forget about it. John emails in.
Hi, John.
Nebraska absolutely cannot lose to Colorado for the fourth time in a row.
It's a great take.
Agreed. We'll talk about the importance of that game at some other point. I would have focused on the stupid UTEP game because if I see another comment that says UTEP is the most important game because it's the first game on the schedule, I'm going to have to strangle somebody. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
We don't need to read in the paper radio host strangles Nebraska fans.
Grow up. Just grow up. That's all. Treat these people like adults. They should be held to the standard that they're going to win that game. It's not important.
This isn't North Dakota.
When Nebraska wins
isn't Buffalo.
Yeah, when Nebraska wins it 42-14, you're going to be like, oh, that game wasn't a big deal. Because it wasn't. And it won't be.
Gosh, I was worried for nothing. Yes.
Yeah, you were. You worked yourself into a tizzy. And now all of a sudden Colorado's on your ass. And you're like you didn't even prepare yourself mentally all summer because you were thinking about UTEP the whole time. Give me a break.
The biggest problem you're going to have after the UTEP game is you're going to call into this show the Monday after and you're going to go, why hasn't Adidas released the coaches polos yet? I one game and I don't have the coaches polo. I don't have the sideline authentic polo yet. That's you. That's what you're going to do on Monday after the UTEP game.
We've seen this happen enough, Josh. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. Kenneth writes in on YouTube.
Hi, Kenneth.
Does Josh just do the Lou Holtz pregame speech bit from ESPN? He kind of did, yeah.
Was that a bit?
They did. They used to do that. Lou Holtz would give a team a pump-up speech before the games,
Alabama,
Yeah.
listen up.
Yeah.
You got this. Don't forget at the beginning of the day, you're Alabama.
Okay, this is a good question. Star Wars Fiend.
Hi, Star Wars
I have
fan.
a question, hypothetical. If Scott Frost was still here, would UTEP be the most important? If so, that's the difference between where Frost was and where Rule is going to. Sure. Soft program, mentally weak program, normal program.
Okay, I follow.
Two
the
different
question now.
things.
Yeah,
Two
sure.
different things.
Uh-huh.
I like that, Star Wars Fiend. I would actually sign my name on that. I would subscribe to that. Like I said, these are great people. These are awesome people.
The best people.
MLB reaction overreaction is next on 1620 The Zone.